Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar series, NAB edition. As you know, typically at this time of year, we're all at Las Vegas at the NAB trade show, and we all, talk about what's new technology, new products, new features, and so on. So, in short, what's new for today? If I have to answer with one word, that will be a lot is new today. So I will do my typical format, go through my presentation, and then at the end, I'll open the floor for questions and answers. Please use the QA tab in your application to type your questions. I'll read them. We'll all talk about it. My colleagues also are online. They will also help answer some questions. And we'll keep on going this way. So let's start immediately with what's new, because we have a lot to talk about. Okay, I'll start with AirBox. We all know this fantastic product and we're all using it. And what's new here? Let's start with one new option, which is audio loudness normalization. This is an option that you can purchase if you're interested in this type of thing. You know, loudness normalization is a legal requirement in some markets, and it's also nice to your customers, so your media files don't vary too much level-wise, loudness-wise. So the commercials are not overly too loud than the previous movie file, and so on and so forth. And up till now, we had a solution where if you pre-scan the files and extract that metadata, that can be adjusted while they're in the playlist. But the problem was always if you put files that are not scanned already, so you don't know their average loudness, program loudness, so you don't know how to correct while you're playing out. Also, what's happening with live inputs? Again, unpredictable source. You have no idea what you're gonna get. Typically in SDI workflow, was very easy to remedy this with some external device, maybe on the SDI chain. But what are you gonna do with streaming? That's another issue. So the way we resolved it, if we go to our output settings, audio, you can see you have loudness normalization. If you enable it, you put your reference level. So I have -23, which is loudness units, which is in Europe. So for the Americas, we have to be 24. These are the recommendations. You can adjust pre-gain overall. If your overall signal, typically it's lower level, so you can adjust it a little bit, or you can tell if your signals are a little bit quieter overall, how much to amplify them, so you have control over these parameters. What I'm going to do to demonstrate this portion, I will open my second instance, which has a live input, as you can see here, and I'm feeding this live input with the first instance. So right now, you can see the blue meters are my signal that is not being normalized, and you can see the second one, the orange one, is the live input. So I'm accepting live signal from the other instance, from first instance that you see, and you can see where the levels are. As you can see, even here, I'm between 23, 20. Let me just boost the level here. So you see I'm going over the top here significantly, and here the levels are exactly where they should be. I can go to some of these files. They're much louder. You can see this is like really, really loud files, the commercials, as we call them, and they immediately get corrected properly to the -23, 24 in this case, loudness mark. This is very, very handy. As I said, live signals. Your streaming outputs also will be normalized, the level there. you can do this on files that are not being processed, pre-processed with loudness metadata. So this is a new improvement. It's an option that you can order, talk to your sales representative, and see how you can integrate this in your workflow. Another place where I wanted to start is where we left off last time, obviously. We announced at the last IBC session, let's call it last fall, the Capture Suite, and which introduced the new Capture Ingest engine and a lot of functionality there, Multiviewer sort of features, input-output assignments, also how you can use it as a format transcoder and so on. But today, you will hear me referring to this more as a PlayBox Neo suite. Why? Because as I described last time, we're thinking for this to become the new sort of focal point of the new engines, the new technology behind PlayBox Neo products. What do I mean? You will see it right away here in outputs. For example, if I go and I want to do some adjustment here in this output, if I press setup, you will see that my browser opened and I got presented with a dialog here. So basically right now, outputs, assignments, input assignments are set through this application. This is a web interface of an engine that runs underneath. You don't, you have your ingest here because I have ingest license, but if I don't need to have ingest. I can be just AirBox, title box, running with this engine, and I can still assign my input, outputs, have my multiviewer in front of me, and do a lot of other stuff. I'll go into details. What are the improvements over this multiviewer features and multiple servers and so on. So let me just go back to AirBox and go over the what other new features we added. So you have the loudness, which works on mono, stereo, 2.1, 5.1, 7.1 audio streams. So you're all covered with the multi-channel audio there formats. You can have a feature that allows you, if you have, let's say, movie in multi-language, but when the commercial comes, it has only one stream of audio, let's say the original, the first language. So in this case, you can select an option. If there is a missing stream, it has only one stream of audio, the first language. It will copy this to the other outputs assigned, let's say, 2 more languages or 1 more language. So you don't have silence. So this happens automatically because you can have a file there that does not have multi-language. Again, great feature. So you set it and it's there for you, covers cases when you don't have the audio on multiple languages, obviously only the original language, let's say. Another feature is that you've been asked for is adding external audio files to the video file. This works, you can add external WAV file, just name it as the video file, and it will play the external file instead of the internal one. Also, if you have multiple languages outputs in the audio, you can add a descriptor in the name of the file. For example, name of the file _ENG, the 3-letter descriptor for the language English, and it will pick that WAV file and assign it to the English output, and so on for the other languages. You just have to follow the 3-letter language descriptors. Again, very simple. Last minute, if you get something like this, you can replace the original audio in the file with external audio. I will show this in a second with another feature. There is tons of improvements in performance, stability, obviously, because we try to take advantage of any new improvement in computers in general. we've been doing great stuff with accelerating encoding in video cards and so on. So even if you have a little bit older CPU, you can add a new NVIDIA card and you can squeeze more and video streaming encoding in multiple formats, H265, Havoc, or H264, and so on. We've covered this in the previous webinars. Please check our YouTube site. But again, if you want to take advantage of these things, once you update to this latest version, you get all of these features. You get this multiviewer basically in your AirBox, So you see what other benefits you get in a second while I go and talk more about the multiviewer. What else? Better closed caption, handling in various file formats. This is also improvement, and it's a feature that has been widely used in your markets. So I'll go now and tell you what is new in the multiviewer section of things. What we added is freeze and black frame detection, missing signal, incompatible signal detection. This works fantastically as an early alarm system, so you can get and recognize a problem quickly from a single screen. So again, what you see, it's a web browser that I'm monitoring. Like, this is the virtual output of my instance number 1 of AirBox. This is AirBox number 2. This is some external input. I've described this. Here you can have different video cards. Let's say I have here an NDI point, and I can assign something to this point. Like, for example, one of my video cards is the AirBox 1, which is the screen that you're seeing behind my back, being displayed. I can decide to go to another output, and let's say I can set this card not to be high definition, but to be standard definition. And again, I'll have multiple outputs from the same engine in different formats, even different frame rates. It will happen on fly. And output in NDI, maybe send it to another machine in the studio, or a video switcher, which is again very common format, very useful. Okay, let me just remove this port here. All right. So going back to the ingest. Now I see all these sources. You can toggle which one you see in the screen. I'll take out the external video inputs, the NDI sources. So right now I have my AirBox 1 and AirBox 2 here. As you can see on the second instance, I have a Life logo here in the corner. This is my fitting machine, so it doesn't have logos. That's how you're gonna distinguish them. And if I go here, let me close this. I need the second instance again. Okay, the second instance. I just want to make sure we're all seeing everything. So these are my two sources. And let's say I have here, I'll just do pause. A pause in the receiving machine here immediately resulted in freeze detected, as you can see. The signal froze. I have an alarm that I can acknowledge that I've heard this, or I can globally stop the beeping signal. It has an audible and visual notification, which is very handy. And let's say I can go and do, let's say, jump to a black frame. Let me just go through some video. So the alarm is clean, right? And I jump to the black frame. As you can see, the logo is animated, so something is moving, but it will detect black, as you see here. Or I can go and jump to a red frame, again, in 5 seconds. This is how it's set to freeze detected. And also it detects freeze even if you have animated logo. Again, very handy feature. Now just pay attention here. The files that I put for black and red freeze frames, these are JPEG files that I used. Straight on the timeline, I just go in their properties, give them duration, I give them 15 seconds. They go by default 1 hour or so. So you can have a freeze frame, static JPEG or PNG, and you can, play it as a, static video file. But that's not all. As I said, we can add external WAV files to video files. We can do the same thing here with our static picture. So right now, as you see, there's no audio, but if I go and let me just close all of these things, view the desktop. Forgive me for my messy desktop, but I have two WAV files here, which I'm gonna name black and red. They're in the same folder, obviously, as the JPEG files. And now you can see when I go to jump to the black frame that we have audio that is going, or it will jump to the red frame and again we'll have audio going. So with static file, static picture, you can easily add audio and create some sort of static message with music underneath and so on. Again, we've switched to the live input and you've seen all these other little features there. So what else is new in PlayBox Neo suite? Ingest was one of the features, and of course, if you purchase a license, you can still do your ingest. We have a great features, as we described before, two different templates for capturing different formats. You can capture in PAL 16:9, standard resolution, for example, or NTSC, and you can capture in high definition with a different codec. You can do auto split at some interval, or you can do it manually, insert markers and so on and so forth. You can have multiple instances per server. Again, limitations are only by the hardware. But we added some, we had feature edit while the file still ingests, which is more of a feature of the video editing software, let's say Premiere or Edios Workgroup 9 works perfectly fine. But let's say I want to transfer stuff from my ingest workstation somewhere in another storage in the facility. So we have a new feature which is called auto transfer template. How this thing works, let me just delete this template that I did earlier. So I can call it template 2, for example. What type of operation I want to happen, copy or move. So if I want to free up space after I ingest it here on this machine and move it to another NAS for, let's say, the post-production guys can start doing something with this file, I can say move, or I can say copy, keep, both options. Override if file exists, again, you choose this. You can add storage pad. This is like what storage folders are available on the machine. I can say on the local cache, or these are the storages, local ingest, for example. These are storages. I can add root basically and decide a naming template. So I can do year, month, day, let's say an ingest title. So it shows me, I'm gonna see something like this. I can put like dividers or something like this in the name. Let's say year, month, day, dash, ingest title, and so on. So this gives you immediately nice way to organize how file I copy it into, you know, the other location where I'm copying things, which is very, very convenient. And the way this thing works, I have the template here. I go to my ingest and I can select this feature per encoder. So basically, I don't want my secondary encoder encoding a preset to do that auto transfer. I can only set it, this template, on my primary, or I can have a different template for my secondary. So let's say I'm ingesting MPEG-4 for a website. So this will go to the web guy's storage, and my primary format will go to my post-production guy. So you see, very convenient, very, very clever way of working. If you need to edit the file while it still ingests, obviously the auto transfer will not start until the file is closed. So if you want to do sort of intermediate edits and stuff with the transfer files in another location, you just press split. In the moment when you split the file, the splitted portion will start transferring and the new one will start continue capturing onto the main ingest. If you need to edit while it's still ingest without splitting, you have to use the actual local initial ingest storage. This is great feature. We've talked naming templates, metadata templates. We talked in detail in a previous webinar. So please check the videos if you have interest in that, or talk to our sales guys or our support engineers. They will walk you through any of the features specific to your workflow, and you'll get the best possible, you know, setup, you know, for in your particular situation. Okay, so metadata also is transferred, XML files with in-out marks and stuff like this that can be used by Final Cut Pro 7 and Adobe Premiere. So while you're doing your ingest, you can do some, you know, splits, marks. You can put some texts in the markers, descriptions, and so on. This whole is transferred to the video editing software. Very convenient feature. Another thing going beyond the single, say, channel in a box use case, and again, as I said, you may not have ingest on this machine, just using your Playout, couple of instances of Playout. If I go here right now, you see I have one server, and before, let's say I can add another server, give it some silly name. So now if I go here, I see the other server. Okay, here you see I have no connection. There's a SDI card AJA that has no connection. Again, that's another detecting feature that shows me that signal was lost or incompatible. If it's incompatible, we'll say so. But let's say I want to watch multiple servers on a single screen. So now this is possible by pressing this. It shows me all of the servers I have. See, these two signals are from my new server that I added. This is from the demo machine that I'm having right now. And again, there are a couple more inputs, outputs. Again, I can select even more sources to look at. And let's say this is fantastic and I want to use this as my really multi-viewer. So we have full screen. We have full screen now that I can see everything in a full screen and have a sort of broad view over multiple servers, multiple input-output connections, and so on. Again, you can use some of the inputs and outputs on the system just to transcode formats. You coming in one resolution comes out in a different resolution, or SDI to NDI. Use the same signal to two different destinations in different formats and different frame rates. Again, great features straight into this new update. Okay, so I think we kind of going towards the end of my presentation. Let's see questions and answers, and we'll keep on going. Hello, thank you guys. Let me start asking Daryl Peg, asking if you add a .wav file for a video file that already has audio, does the WAV file replaces the video file audio by default? Yes, that's the default behavior, to use the external audio instead, because we're assuming if you're putting that file, your idea is to replace the original audio and use the external audio. Yes, Dara, that's how it works. Okay. Yelbert, thank you very much. So what other features we can talk about? As I said, now we keep on going and integrating all the input-output routing in this PlayBox Neo suite, which goes beyond. Capture is one module, obviously. Here I showed you previously, you have a dashboard, all of the assigned servers. This is my local machine. This is the server that I assigned. I can see CPU load, how many storages are assigned to the machine. For example, this ingest, I have even a remote location in our cloud to TV. Stay tuned. Our next webinar next month will be about the cloud to TV platform. Again, new stuff there and new things, but let me just save this for then. You can assign multiple storages, as I said, local or remote, and you can decide ingesting locally, or you can do auto transfer with the feature that I show you. You can see multiple ingests, obviously, instances, again, depending on how many licenses you have and how many encoders your machine can sustain. You have the multiviewer, combining multiple servers, multiviewer with notification, alarm notifications, audible and visual, that you can do, you know, you can hear it and see which signal is lost, no connection, freeze frame, black signal, and so on, even with the animated logo in the corner. The algorithm is pretty clever. Hello, Ali. Hello. Yes, Ali, please ask your question about the live event. Thank you, Van. Yes, you can play file in AirBox that is not while it's still ingesting. Yes. This is a feature that has been available for a long time, and you can do, you know, you can do different situations with files while they still ingest. how can you set a live event as a source that is from a Quartz router? I mean, I assume you're plugging through some SDI card on your computer. So you can assign something, let's say here, I can say that live stream, I can do another live source, which right now, let's say I put new one called live 7, and right now I'm selecting my SDI in, which is a physical card on this computer, put the proper settings, and once I say okay, I have preset name live 7, I can name it Quartz, for example, and this will be live 7 will be this source here. Okay, and then you just select it from the drop down list and you're ready. That's how it works. Let me see the question. Okay. Yeah, Ali, please, if you need any assistance with stuff like this, just call our support, you know, and they will be glad to help you with exactly these settings. Also, we have a control plugins for multiple routers, so you can put an event. You can put an event that controls the router. You can see Quartz matrix switcher output. There you have it. If you activate this one, you can just create the event. Let's say this is the event, input 3 to output 4. And when this position comes into the playlist, it will send the command to the Quartz. It will switch something, and let's say the output 4 is feeding your SDI card. So there you have it. It's totally automatable. Again, with you know, something specific to your workflow, please, the best thing to do is talk to our support guys. They will set it up for you, and it's very easy to do this stuff. Thank you, Ali. Okay, guys. So what else? Hit me with some questions. Let's keep it let's keep it interesting. I really urge you to go and check our YouTube channel. This presentation will be available shortly, tomorrow or so, on our YouTube channel. And if you miss any, you know, information, miss the beginning or so on, you can take a look. Also, if you come up with another question, please hit us by email to support to our sales guys. Talk to your local representative, because you know, PlayBox Neo representative, because that's the best way to find out how you can benefit with all of these new features. Our guys have been working really hard to push as much as possible improvements and new features to make, to do more on a single machine, do more, as you can see, on a, you know, get out of your system more, you know, more resource, the resources are becoming more available. And then, yep, we have the audio levels, shows you all this stuff. And again, as I said, Van, the cool thing is you can do audio normalization on live sources and files that are not being processed for, you know, loudness metadata previously, which makes it very useful. We all know broadcast is a thing that always happens, everything in the last minute, and some media comes from somewhere and you have to include it in your playlist. And all these live on the go features are great to keep everything going. Again, you can have this web browser interface. Right now I have it here on this machine. I can go full screen. I can have it on another computer in my local network, just use it as a really as a multiviewer. So that's another thing, and I can, you know, keep an eye and control a lot of things. And I can have another instance if I have, let's say, ingest, and the guy can just operate the ingest, and I can just keep an watch on the outputs and the sources. And you can have multi-operator situation, multi-server. You see it very, very flexible. Antonio, Antonio asks, is it possible in Ingest to have the system in the future to log metadata instances, as in the case of Big Brother's programs, I'm not sure what metadata, but you can go on the fly while you're ingesting. You can do markers, as I showed you. For example, here, while I was ingesting, I put some markers, and I can also go and adjust the markers later on, you know, like this. Can be a region for this marker, can be moved, and I can go and change the color of the marker, because let's say I have some agreement with our editors that red will mean pay attention to this, or this is no good take, or green means good take, and you can do all this. And you can put descriptions here. Okay, let me just clean up a little bit of my screen. Thank you, Charles. Can you change the size of the multi-viewer windows? For example, if you only need 4 screens, can you feed the display with those 4? Currently, the size of these windows is fixed. You can go full screen like this, but these pictures are fixed. We're working in the future to have more of this layout sort of presets, which is coming down the road, to have layout presets so you can put them exactly in the order you want, and, you know, resize them and do, let's say, one bigger, let's say the main window, and the inputs are smaller. But this is going to happen down the road, guys. This is just what is being released right now. But yeah, this will be available in the next upcoming, you know, versions of this. Okay, let me see. Thank you, Antonio. Okay. Okay, guys, thank you. I'm clearing the queue here. You can see all the questions here. And if you miss any of them, again, go check out the video after we finish our session. What else? I said about here, this sign is turn general mute for the audio alert. If I mute this one, let's say this, I can just mute individual ones. Let's say this means I acknowledge that here's some problem, and this is, you know, it will stop buzzing until something changes here in the condition. And if it shows the signal for a while and then drops again, the alarm will reset and start sounding, and I can hear it or decide not to have an audible alarm, only visual. So again, this is very, very, very convenient. All right. If there's no more questions at this time, I would like to thank you guys for participating in our webinar. As always, we love to hear from you. hope to see you this year, presumably at some live show, so we can talk more and present again what we're doing. We love to hear what you're doing with our system, with our products. Thank you very much for participating. Keep an eye for the next webinar. Again, I told you we're going to do cloud to TV. If you're interested in this, and maybe some other new stuff, whatever comes along, we try to send the information, give you the information, maybe discuss some workflows and some, you know, scenarios that we've been seeing through implementations of PlayBox Neo product line all over the world. Thank you very much. Thank you, Antonio. Yes, this has always been our big thing, to squeeze more and more into the product, and give more resources to people to play with. Yeah, Daryl, thank you. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you next time at our next webinar. Have a good one.